The Spring Tempest Trials for this year is a fun one. In the Full Bloom Bout Tempest Trials event, we actually have some changes to our reward structure. I began this video a little early, so I don't know the full extent of the changes, but I'm assuming for scoring the max of 50,000 points, you will still earn 42 orbs, 11,000 feathers, and 80 sacred coins. At 6,000 points, you will now earn 50 Ephemera 3 Divine Codes. Reminder, Ephemera Divine Codes only last for a limited time. The blessing for this event is a water blessing to match Legendary Chrom from last month. Now with the introduction of Ephemera into the reward structure, it seems like we will now only get 2 Sacred Seals. This time it's Defense Feint and Death Blow, a skill that many thought would never actually become a seal. The reward unit for this time is Spring Bartre, and you can earn a 4-star and 5-star copy. In the rest of this video, we'll talk more about our new Sacred Seals and reward unit in more depth. Apologies if I missed something. I will update the description if any new information comes out once the Tempest Trials is up. Hopefully, when this video goes live, I'll be playing some Animal Crossing. Our first Sacred Seal is Defense Feint. If a rally assist skill is used by unit or target's unit, inflict defense -7 on foes and cardinal directions of unit through the next actions. Another Feint skill, these are long range debuffs that will mostly be used by rally users, such as Annette. They can combo with other Feint or Ruse B skills, but keep in mind that the Ruse skills have a larger range since they also emit from the ally. For Feint skills, it doesn't matter who rallies who, the debuff will only extend out from the unit with this skill. As a Sacred Seal, this can be an annoying skill if you like to use rallies and Aether raids, since every fight is almost vertically up and down. For maps with more spread out enemies, it can be a lot harder to apply those debuffs. For me, the Feint skills are not top priority seals to upgrade. You're probably going to want a specific support build in mind if you do use them. Annette is a really good example because she has rally attack and speed plus, so you can give an ally attack buffs while decreasing the enemy's defense and also giving your unit extra movement. Our second Sacred Seal is Death Blow 3. If unit initiates combat, grants attack +6 during combat. This skill needs no introductions. It's a player phase skill that gives you more damage, and why wouldn't you want more damage? Now Death Blow 3 is a great Sacred Seal, but with Swift Sparrow already being a seal, it's not the end all, be all obvious choice for every single offensive unit. A lot of attackers like Swift Sparrow better because an extra 4 speed is very helpful, since getting a follow-up attack is worth way more than another 2 attack. Death Blow is going to be more for those units that only really care about pure attack power. Reinhardt is the obvious example. With Dire Thunder hitting twice in a row, you get double the value out of Death Blow's +6 attack. Everyone's favorite Mage Cavalier can now run 2 Death Blow 3 skills, although you could have hit the same amount of extra attack with Death Blow 4 and Sturdy Blow before. There is the argument of running Heavy Blade instead, and it can be more valuable to get a Moonbow or Glimmer proc instead of 6 extra attack. If you want to keep it simple though, Death Blow is always going to proc. Now some other fun units who would love Death Blow as a Sacred Seal include Lilina, who can actually just have 3 Death Blow effects basically. Xirshe has her Stronger Brave Axe, and Gordon has his Brave Bow that inflicts defense debuffs. May's Tome has Death Blow with attack and speed link for self-buffing. Frederick has his Death Blow Axe that is effective against armor units. As for Eliwood, his normal Durando can give him +10 attack on initiations, but it also has a little extra speed, so he may want Swift Sparrow. As a general rule, Death Blow is better than Swift Sparrow as a seal if you aren't concerned with doubling. For example, slower brave weapon users like Reinhardt, who don't have much of a chance of getting a follow-up attack for that quad attack, just want the extra damage. Back in the old days, we used to think Death Blow becoming a Sacred Seal would never happen. It would have just been too good on Reinhardt. Death Blow actually becoming a real seal seemed like the end of times, but we're well past that at this point. Although 2020 seems to be just an awful year for the whole world, so you know, maybe it's not so far-fetched.
I'm Bartre, all dressed up for the Spring Festival I am!
Our reward unit for this time is Spring Bartre in a matching outfit with his daughter Fur. He is a sword infantry unit with 46 HP, 40 attack, 26 speed, 35 defense, and 25 resistance. Definitely not the norm for a sword unit. Bartre is on the slower side. He does come with a very impressive 40 base attack that is second highest for any sword user and is the highest for infantry sword units, at least for base values. Can't get an attack boon, but I think he'll be just fine. In terms of physical bulk, Bartre is doing pretty well with a ton of HP and 35 defense, which is not bad. He also has 25 resistance, which is not super high, but for a sword user that is, I think, above average. In terms of stats, we've seen many similar units, but if you like big attack values, muscles, and mustaches, then Bartre is your guy. For his weapon, Bartre has the Carrot Cudgel Plus. This inheritable sword is the same as Spring Narshan's Gilt Fork Lance. If unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack and defense +5, and neutralizes penalties during combat. Not a bad inheritable weapon at all, and Bartre's best stats include attack and defense, so it's a good fit for him. You do need to stay near allies, which means Carrot Cudgel will probably be better for enemy phase builds. Getting +5 attack and defense is quite a hefty stat boost, and being able to refine it for another +4 defense means the user can get a ton of physical damage reduction just from this weapon alone. We don't have a ton of inheritable seasonal swords, so Carrot Cudgel is a nice addition. For the rest of Bartre's kit, he has Smite as his assist skill, not exactly a crazy skill, and technically it has anti-synergy with Carrot Cudgel since Bartre would smite his ally out of the activation range. For his B skill, Bartre has Obstruct 3. Oh boy, Obstruct is kinda just there so the AI can use it to screw you over on harder PvE maps. I will say though that I have been using Surtur with the Obstruct Sacred Seal in Runner's Strike and placed them in the top area just to inflict 20 damage on enemies that spawn in. It's actually hilariously good at keeping Cavaliers in check. Besides that one case, I would say Obstruct uses are very limited unless you have a big-brained Aether Raid's defense strategy. Luckily, Bartre does have one good passive skill and it's Odd Attack Wave 3, plus 6 attack for the user and adjacent allies every odd numbered turn. Now this will make Nino users very happy. She has Even Attack Wave on her refined weapon. If you give her Odd Attack Wave, that's guaranteed a +6 attack buff every turn for her blade tone. Bartre can actually also do this since we have Even Attack Wave as a Sacred Seal. Not bad at all. If you decide to give Bartre a little bit of investment, a normal +1 merge will give him +1 HP in defense. Thanks to the neutral nature, he will then get an additional +1 HP attack and defense. For some extra feathers, you can get Bartre up to 48 HP, 41 attack, and 37 defense. In terms of free slow infantry units, there's not too many. I would say Spring Bartre is like Tobin, except he throws his extra BST all into attack. He's also just straight up better than good old Alphonse stat-wise. Those two do have refined weapons though, so they have their own niches. Unfortunately for Bartre, his most recent comparison is Itsuki. In terms of stats, Itsuki has less HP, attack, and defense, but he comes with more speed and a lot more resistance, which makes him quite unique since sword units typically just have terrible res stats. Itsuki also has his Mirage Falchion, which not only kills dragons, but also grants attack and defense stat boost, and he can get even more attack and defense than Bartre's Cudgel Carrot offers. It is just really tough to beat Itsuki if you're looking for a slower swordsman who is more defensive in nature. He offers a lot of good things. Same can kinda be said for Legendary Ike, kinda hard to top a distant counter weapon, 4-turn Aether, and Warding Breath. For the most part, Spring Bartre will have a big HP advantage over most of his fellow slow sword units. Refining his weapon will get him another +5 HP, and that can keep him alive. All things said, he's not that bad for a reward unit with no unique weapons or skills. For builds and playstyles, as mentioned, Spring Bartre will have a lot in common with Itsuki. Both of their weapons grant attack and defense boost, which means stacking both of those stats can be the way to go. For Bartre, 26 base speed is not amazing. He will get doubled often, and to score his own follow-ups, you're only probably going to need quick riposte. The good thing is that Bartre has a ton of attack, so he should have no trouble actually dealing good damage. With the Carrot Cudgel, you'll probably want to stack more attack and defense with quick riposte to fend off against physical damage attackers. Steady or steady stands are nice ace skills for that, and I forgot to mention attack and defense form when talking about Narshan and his gift fork. If you can get this skill, it also has a 2-space activation range, which is perfect with the Carrot Cudgel, and is a little more flexible than a bond skill. For specials, Bonfire Ignis will probably be the way to go. Something like Soul or Glimmer could also work. For Circuit Seals, if you want to always have +6 attack buffs for Bartre and his adjacent allies, you can give him Even Attack Wave. With his high base HP, hopefully Bartre can avoid any panic status effects. For other skills, you can try Brazen Attack and Defense Bond, and Attack and Defense Link if you don't want to use the Wave C skill. A good reason for that could be that you want to use Panic Ploy, but that can go in the seal slot as well. For a budget B skill, Breakers are always great, and Bartre's high attack can help him score takedowns on specific enemy types. Now to celebrate our Deathglow Sacred Seal, Spring Bartre can use it exceptionally well. 40 base attack with a Brave Sword and double Deathglow 3 skills get him up to 60 attack. Very respectable damage output, and you can use low attack and defense for maximum damage potential. This would be a very fun build, but obviously Bartre's enemy phase is gonna suffer. If you don't want to use a Brave Sword, then Spring Bartre can also be a very cheap anti-armor unit by using Ace Armor Slayer, or I suppose it's Armor Smasher in this game. Add Sword or Axe Breaker as well, and that could be a fun build to bring into arena assault battles. If you want to get a little more expensive with build options, you can invest in extra resistance with the Barrier Blade and skills like Mirror Stance or Close Defense. The tier 3 dual stance skills would be great pickups for their built-in guard effects, and we got Sturdy Stance 3 for attack and defense or Mirror Stance 3 for attack and res. I would recommend still using Quick Riposte somewhere in an enemy phase build, but if you have room, Sudden Panic would also be a great tool to mess up the enemy. I think using Bartre's high HP to inflict panic in some way is a great idea. For a more special heavy set, we have the Slang Edge with Steady or Warding Breath. You can use that with Bonfire for instant special retaliations. You could also use Wrath and a Will Dow if you really want big special procs. For the most part, builds are going to be pretty standard here. I would recommend focusing either on pure attack or using the Carrot Cudgel for physical damage tanking. Overall, not a bad Tempest Trials, not crazy good, but it's a fun one with Deathblow finally getting added as a seal, and you can't hate on Bartre and his guns. Now regarding the last Sacred Seals, if that is still the case, at the moment I don't think it's completely bad. We may get 3 Sacred Seals per Tempest Trials, but we also get nowhere near enough Sacred Coins to upgrade every single seal. It is especially rough for newer players, and their upgrade choices really do matter. Now the issue in the future is what happens if one of our now 2 Sacred Seals is bad. That would kinda stink. We'll just have to see what happens in the next couple of events. For our current selection, Defense Feint and Deathblow are both decent. Deathblow is obviously just a fun skill to have. Personally, I don't think 2 extra attack for Reinhardt is going to change the game. There are a lot worse things already out there. Regarding Spring Bartre, he has a very high base attack stat and comes with odd attack wave. His good HP and defense with low speed set him up to be more defensive in nature, and his 25 base resistance isn't the worst out there. I would say he's a decent slower sword infantry unit. Unfortunately, he comes shortly after Itsuki, who just offers so much, and his Mirage Falchion also boosts attack and defense, which is what Bartre focuses on. Itsuki has more speed and resistance as well, which makes him a lot more flexible in terms of build options, and having Dragon Effectiveness is just a cherry on top. I would definitely check him out if you're looking for that more defensive infantry sword unit. Now, the one thing Itsuki doesn't have is muscles and a sweet mustache. Sometimes that's all it takes. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this Tempest Trials event. I'll be taking a little vacation on a deserted island. See you guys in the next video.